Hey Jay, how we doing?
Good. How are you?
How was the bye week?
Great. Good chance to reset.
How do you feel like the special teams group has kind of progressed through this year as far as their performance?
Yeah. I think there's a standard that we want to play to, and we certainly weren't doing that. But I think there's kind of been a culmination of several things and guys coming together and realizing the severity of what we're doing, because special teams will win and lose games, as you can see. So I think we've had some more buy-in and guys realizing it's actually important, and it can change a game for the better. So we need to be on it.
What has been some of those things that have contributed to like that realization?
Really, just taking it seriously, go out and play special teams like you play offense or defense, attention to detail here in the meetings, knowing the plays, take notes, all that stuff. So.
Who all have you been hearing from back home this week? Phone's been blowing up?
Yeah, too many people.
Asking for tickets as well?
Yeah, we weren't going to go all the way down that list. That'd be probably a bit too many. So.
In a game like this, how important is kind of like flipping the field, especially with a really talented offense?
Yeah, I think it's huge. A lot of people don't think special teams is that important, back to that point. But when you look at a game like this where it can be neck and neck, 10 or 15-yard field change can be the difference. If we're punting the ball 10 or 15 yards farther than they are, in the long run, it adds up, and it's a first down or more that they have to get, whatever it may be.
What is your approach when you're trying to pin somebody in the 5 or the 10-yard line? What is your approach?
Yeah, one thing that I've kind of been taught, you play pitch and catch with the returner. If you're on a plus 50 punt, they're probably going to be standing around the 10-yard line. So you kind of just have to recognize you can't do too much. If it ends up inside the 5, great. But if you put the ball down on the 12, that's a win. Fair catch, no return. So.
You've known Coach Kelly for a while. How have you seen him kind of build his culture?
Yeah. Coach Kelly has a process, and I think it speaks for itself, and it works. And I think guys are starting to realize that. There's a lot of people want to do things their own way, and it doesn't work sometimes. And you go back to what the coaches are asking you to do, and it works. And I think it speaks for itself, and guys are realizing that.
Do you feel like there's a confidence level right now that's just continuing to grow?
Absolutely. Guys want to win. Everybody wants to win. That's why we're here, and we're at LSU. We want to be a championship football program. And that's if you want to do that, then you'll do what's necessary.
My last question for you. Sorry for grilling you, but just what is Coach Kelly like on the practice field, and what has the special teams group been like since you guys have started to turn it around?
Yeah, I love Coach Kelly to death. I feel like I owe him a ton for giving me the opportunity to come down here. But I would say, on the practice field, he'll get after your tail if he needs to. But he's also the kind of guy you can go up and talk to and, ask him whatever you need to ask him. I've built a really good relationship with him, and I don't feel like he's not approachable. He's an easy guy to talk to. And what was the next question?
It was just about kind of you guys had early struggle with
the
season. Did y'all change anything up during practice or the way you did things?
Yeah, not necessarily. There were a few tweaks in terms of meetings and the way it was set up in practice. But I would say from more of the bigger picture, even on offense and defense, we got guys coming together, and I think that plays into it as well. Like in the locker room, guys are. It's a brotherhood's being built, and we're kind of getting our identity, and I think that all has a lot to do with starting to play better in special teams.
What kind of advice have you given to Ramos? You're obviously played a lot more college football than he has as freshman. So what have you kind of told him and helped him build up?
He's really good. Technique, all the small stuff that nobody really knows. He's really good at all that stuff. He's really good at kicking field goals. He's got a strong leg. And the biggest thing you can do is have confidence. And no matter what, every time you walk out on the field, you got to know you're going to make the kick. Like as soon as you put a bad thought in your mind, not a good shot, you know. So just confidence. You got to choose confidence.
How important was it to have coaches that you were familiar with, such as Coach Bowling and Kelly, during this transition to a new school?
Big time. I mean, you think about it going to the transfer portal. You have to start over essentially if you don't have this fall into your hands. You know, so say I went somewhere else, I'd be starting over completely and having to build new relationships and, you know, learn new people and how they work and, you know, how they operate. You know, so it's been huge.
And throughout Kelly's process of establishing a culture here at LSU, were you able to kind of help him since you're in the locker room and the player and, you know, you have your finger on the pulse, so to speak?
I'd like to think so. I think a lot of guys kind of knowing that I was at Notre Dame with him, I got a lot of questions on how he operates and what his expectations are and what that process looks like from that perspective. So, yeah.